The 2025 NFL Draft is now officially in the books, but there are still several blockbuster trades and big-name cuts to follow.
Up into the air, into the end zone, and...
So, fear not, fans. There's still plenty of time for your team to upgrade their roster before Week 1.
3rd and 13, wants the screen for Barkley, who makes the catch. Probably better off to let that one drop.
But with that, how about we dive into 10 big names most likely to get cut here in the 2025 NFL offseason. Kirk Cousins. The Atlanta Falcons entered 2024 as the team to beat in the NFC South after signing the 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback to a 4-year deal worth $180 million. The deal included $100 million in guarantees for Cousins, who was coming off a season-ending surgery on his Achilles. Cousins appeared to be worth every penny early on, leading the Falcons to a 6-3 start. That included a season series sweep over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, putting them in the driver's seat for the division crown. But Cousins began to implode in the second half, losing 4 straight starts that saw him throw 0 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Cousins was benched in favor of rookie Michael Penix Jr. for the final 3 games. Lo and behold, the Atlanta offense fared much better under the rookie.
4th and goal. Penix, end zone, touchdown.
The Falcons weren't able to find a taker for Cousins leading up to the 2025 NFL Draft. Quarterback-needy teams like the New York Giants and Cleveland Browns used free agency and the draft to bolster their QB rooms. And the Tennessee Titans used the number 1 pick on Cam Ward. If Atlanta can't find a trade partner for Cousins, the best bet is to bite the bullet and release him. There's no sense keeping a pricey quarterback on the roster when he clearly doesn't want to be there, and Cousins deserves the chance to compete for his starting job elsewhere.
Of the Atlanta Falcons. Watching his man Cousins go deep downfield.
Now, releasing Cousins would cost Atlanta $40 million in dead money for 2025 and $25 million in 2026. But the Falcons are in a good spot financially, with their young stars playing under cheap rookie deals. I mean, the Denver Broncos aren't regretting releasing Russell Wilson and taking on $85 million in dead money. Not after the rise of Bo Nix in 2024. Releasing Cousins avoids any drama and feelings of uneasiness in the locker room. It can only boost Penix's morale and confidence, too. Jaire Alexander. For the second straight year, the Green Bay Packers superstar cornerback was limited to 7 regular season games because of injury. Alexander declined to speak to reporters after their playoff loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, claiming that he had nothing good to say. Injuries have limited Alexander to 34 total games over the last 4 years, and yet Green Bay's defense has still been rock solid without him.
They love him here. Nixon, good return. Keyshawn Nixon, look out. Kicker past him.
Yes, of course, they're better when the 2-time Pro Bowler is on the field, but the injury risks are just too great here. Alexander has a $24.636 million cap hit for the 2025 season. That is way too much for somebody who isn't exactly in Patrick Surtain's class. And that cap number jumps to $27.01 million in 2026. If the Packers cut Alexander, they'll save $17.11 million in cap space for 2025 and $19.5 million more for 2026. He's merely a luxury for their defense now, not a necessity.
3. Allen throws end zone for Shakir. Incomplete. Jaire Alexander.
So it feels like unless he agrees to a giant pay cut, it's either trade or release for the 2018 first-round pick. Marshon Lattimore. Looking to bolster their defense for a playoff run under rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels, the Washington Commanders acquired the All-Pro cornerback in a blockbuster deal with the New Orleans Saints ahead of the 2024 trade deadline.
Here's Hurts, blitz again, everybody's coming. Hurts is going to throw one for the corner, it is!
Injuries limited Lattimore to 2 regular season game appearances, but he got healthy in time for the postseason. The 4-time Pro Bowler, however, proved to be the weak link instead of an upgrade in Washington's secondary. According to Pro Football Reference, Lattimore allowed 10 of 14 pass attempts in his direction to be caught for 154 yards and a touchdown in Washington's 3 playoff games. Lattimore yielded a 131.2 passer rating when targeted in those contests, too. The thing is, Washington's defense was already good before they traded for Lattimore. They also signed veterans Jonathan Jones and Will Harris to bolster their secondary before using a second-round pick on highly touted Ole Miss corner Trey Amos. Cutting Lattimore would save Washington $16 million in cap space. We know that they paid quite a bit to get him, and maybe he would find his form in a full season under defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. But if the Commanders don't like what they see in training camp and preseason, well, don't be surprised if Lattimore goes back to the open market. Lazard. The New York Jets signed Lazard to a 4-year deal worth $44 million in free agency as a part of their plan to bring Aaron Rodgers aboard. Lazard, of course, was just one of Rodgers' many former Green Bay teammates to join the Jets in a movement that, well, backfired entirely for all parties involved. Lazard's first year with the Jets was a complete bust, but one could easily chalk that up to Rodgers missing all but a few snaps in 2023. Unfortunately, well, he didn't fare much better in 2024, finishing with just 37 passes for 530 yards and 6 touchdowns. The Jets' new brass wanted to move on from the failed super team experiment and chose to cut Rodgers and Davante Adams. So I think it's only a matter of time until Lazard is traded or cut. No offense to Justin Fields, but we doubt Lazard is about to put up career numbers with the dual-threat QB now behind center. Lazard and the Jets agreed to a restructured deal, but that doesn't at all mean that he's here to stay. If anything, it just helps the Jets' chances of finding a trade partner. If the Jets cut him, they would take on a minimal dead money charge of $3.934 million. A trade would save $2.426 million in cap space. So bottom line, we would be shocked if Lazard actually spent the entire 2025 season with the Rodgerless Jets. Jamal Dean. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers handed Dean a 4-year contract extension worth $52 million in the 2023 offseason. But man, they have not gotten their money's worth through the first 2 years of that deal. Dean missed 4 games to injury in 2023 and 5 more in 2024. Both years, the Bucs finished bottom 5 against the pass, and that was largely thanks to Dean suddenly becoming a major liability in coverage. With Dean's production declining significantly, it doesn't make sense for the Bucs to retain him unless he agrees to a significant pay cut. If the defending NFC South champions release Dean now, they'll have a whopping $12.852 million against the cap and $13 million more in 2026. The Buccaneers can always explore a trade for another veteran corner, perhaps the aforementioned Marshon Lattimore or Jaire Alexander. But Dean's injury history, lackluster production since 2023, and hefty salary make him a hot trade/release candidate with training camp inching closer. Noah Fant. The 2019 first-round pick never fully lived up to expectations with the Denver Broncos, and he was flipped to the Seattle Seahawks in the 2022 blockbuster deal involving Russell Wilson. Fant's production has been even worse in Seattle, though. He had 2 600-yard seasons with the Broncos, but hasn't exceeded 500 with the Seahawks. It was mind-boggling when GM John Schneider gave Fant a 2-year extension worth $21 million last offseason, and that deal looks even worse a year later. The Seahawks drafted another tight end, Miami's Elijah Arroyo, with the number 50 selection in round 2. They then signed Cooper Kupp to be their number 2 receiver behind Jackson Smith-Njigba, and that is without mentioning the dynamic running back duo of Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet. So Fant's role in Seattle figures to reduce considerably in 2025. Or, if the Seahawks cut the Iowa product, they would save $8.91 million against the cap. Seems like an easy decision here, no? David Njoku. Many were surprised when the Cleveland Browns gave Njoku a 4-year extension worth $56.75 million in the 2022 offseason. You know, given his lackluster production up to that point. But the deal proved to be a stroke of genius for Cleveland, with Njoku improving his production and earning a Pro Bowl nod in 2023. But the Browns need to clear up cap space and get younger across the board.
Fake and throw. Flacco wide open. Touchdown, Njoku.
Deshaun Watson will be gone by next year, and the big 3 offensive linemen of Jack Conklin, Wyatt Teller, and Joel Bitonio are nearing the end of their primes. If the Browns were to cut Njoku, they would take on $6.935 million in dead money charges in 2025 and 2026. They would clear $4.501 million for 2025, though, and an additional $17.396 million the following year. Cleveland used a 3rd-round pick on promising Bowling Green tight end Harold Fannin Jr., so Njoku is now expendable. And if he puts money aside, Njoku should welcome a trade or release, since the Browns figure to be one of football's worst teams in 2025. Tremaine Edmonds. Most people agreed it was a significant overpay when the Chicago Bears gave Edmonds a 4-year deal worth $72 million in 2023 free agency. He hadn't been named to a Pro Bowl since 2020, and it didn't take a genius to understand that Edmonds benefited from playing in the Buffalo Bills' star-studded defense. Sure enough, Edmonds has come nowhere close to living up to his contract in Windy City. He has just 1 sack.
Number 42. Pressure not picked up and a sack.
has been a significant liability in coverage and finished with a lackluster 59.2 Pro Football Focus grade in 2024, 119th among 189 linebackers. If the Bears were to cut Edmonds this offseason, they'd take on a dead money charge of just over $10.637 million. But it would open up $6.8 million in cap space this year and $15 million for 2026. Will Levis. A little over 2 years ago, Levis was widely projected to be an early or mid-first round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. In one of the most shocking quarterback draft slides ever, however, Levis went undrafted in round 1. Finally, the Tennessee Titans traded up via the Arizona Cardinals to select Levis with the number 33 pick in round 2. After replacing Ryan Tannehill behind center, Levis showed some promise with 8 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in 9 game appearances, highlighted by his stunning comeback road win over the Miami Dolphins in Week 14 on Monday Night Football. But Levis was unable to take that next step forward in the 2024 sophomore season, and his struggles led to Tennessee's finishing as football's worst team. They landed the number 1 pick and used it on Miami product Cam Ward, ensuring Levis will never be the guy in Music City.
2nd and 10, Levis looking for Hopkins.
There may not be much interest in Levis on the trade market, and Tennessee would be kind of lucky to get anything better than a 5th-round pick for him. I mean, seriously, nobody at this point is looking at Levis as a potential starter. The Titans have 2 other veteran backup QBs, Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle, on their roster, so they don't really need Levis, and cutting him would cost pennies against the cap since, hey, he's on a rookie deal. Mark Andrews. Make no mistake, the Baltimore Ravens passing game functions a whole lot better when tight end Mark Andrews is on the field. But the salary cap means that you can't keep all your star players, and the 3-time Pro Bowler just might be the odd man out. But a string of injuries in the Ravens' rush-first offense have prevented Andrews from really building off his monster 2021 season. You know, when he caught 107 passes for 1,361 yards on 9 touchdowns. Andrews has set a career high with 11 TD receptions in 2024. But that doesn't justify a $16.9 million cap hit for a player whose role continues to reduce each year. With Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, and Rashad Bateman in the fold, Andrews' chances of regaining that superstar-like form that we saw in 2021 for Lamar Jackson remain slim. Cutting the Pro Bowl tight end would save Baltimore $11 million in 2025. That cap space could be used to bring in multiple impact players between training camp and the 2025 trade deadline. The Ravens like to follow the philosophy of better to get rid of a player a year too early instead of a year too late. And they can stay true to that by cutting or trading Andrews before Week 1 begins. But which other big-named NFL players are most likely to get cut this offseason? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.